you're familiar with EasyBib looking like this. And here's a list of all my sources that I used this summer. And here actually is the source that I just cited. I've already cited it for you. And I'm assuming Mr. Jack's presentation has already shown you how to cite this source. But anyway, it's sitting right there. If I go up here, I can click on Notes and Outline, which will help me take notes on this source. And you can see I've already started this, and I've already started organizing some things. But I've got this idea from here, this thing that I highlighted, that I want to make sure that I write down and remember. So in EasyBib Note Taker, I can do that. I can create a new note. And I can, here where it's, I can type in a paraphrase of that note, or I can type in direct evidence from the text, the direct quote, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to Command V, and there shows up exactly what I had pulled out of that quote. This is something that I want to remember, and it's going to remember it now. But I have a few more things that I can do with this now that I've just cut and pasted it. The first thing that I can do is give it a title, and this is the part where I need to actually do some thinking as a researcher. I need to figure out really what the main idea of this sentence, this note is. This paper argues that because poverty... so I can call this extracurricular effect on poverty-stricken students. I could have added a paraphrase here. I could also make a comment on this if I want to more specifically. I'm not really sure what identifier does, but you can certainly figure that out on your own. Now I'm going to click on Save Note, and here it shows up here, just like a little note card there. And I forgot to do something. Sorry, I need to go back. I forgot the most important part, which is I forgot to tell EasyBib exactly where I got this information. And this is one of the key parts about it. Here come all my sources that I have in this bibliography. And so I need to figure out the one that I pulled it out of, and it's this Andreessen A one from 2013. So I'm going to tell it that I got it out of there. And now EasyBib is going to remember not only what I wrote down and what I wanted to remember, but also where I got that information, which is going to make my life way easier later. This is a very important step that you don't want to skip, because there's nothing worse than having to Google your really good information to be able to cite it later. So now I'm going to click on Save Note. And my note ends up right here. The other very cool thing that I can do with this is I can drag and drop these notes all over the place. And as I do that, I can drag and drop them on top of each other. For example, I have two notes here that seem to fit together. I've got one that talks about different dimensions of extracurricular activities, and I have one that talks about different categories of extracurricular activities. So those two notes together might form the basis of a small paragraph or an introductory paragraph probably, in the final report that I'm going to be writing. So what I can do is take this and drop it on top of that one, and it starts grouping them up. I need to title this group to tell it what's going on, and I'm going to call this definitions, because both of those things have to do with definitions. I'll just call it definitions, and then click away from that, and now I've got the makings of the outline of a paragraph here. So I took two cards that seemed to fit together, dragged them on top of each other, and then explained what, using the title, explained what tied those two things together. With this card that I just made, and I've already got some groups here of things that I grouped up this summer. I've got the extracurriculars effect on poverty. And that bell means that I'm late for Talon, so I'm going to need to wrap this up. This seems to have to do with benefits of extracurriculars, because it has a positive effect on poverty. So I can take this and drop it over into this group with the rest of these things. What's extra super cool about this is, as I'm grouping these things up, it automatically outlines my paper for me over here. Everything that I group up and everything that I name becomes part of an outline for my paper. This doesn't do all the work for me, obviously. The real thinking happens when I name the cards. I figure out the main ideas that tie them all together, and I name the groups. But it's a really good way to organize information and put that into an outline. If you have any other questions, feel free to stop by room 409. I'm sorry if I've been rambling a little bit. I think I probably have. Hopefully this helps at least a little. Good luck.